Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer of the radio program, Ethan Euchre.
Yes, I am here. Raring to go, as always.
Thanks. And senior fellow Jeff Wagstaff, how are you, sir?
I am wonderful, thank you. Great to be here.
As always, it's a pleasure. And across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So, we talk about innovation, and that really comes from experience and expertise throughout the years, and being able to think past typical textbook procedures. And that's what we have with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati. He really tried to seek out and find an answer to back pain because traditional spine surgery really wasn't resulting in good numbers. So he developed his patented procedures and methods and set out on his own path. And he was really one of the first for minimally invasive laser spine surgery. With that said, laser isn't the only thing he uses. He has patented tools to really get to the root of people's trouble. And what you see from some of the other facilities that are out there, imitators we like to call them, claiming to do what he does, they don't. And they use things like only lasers. That isn't what we do here. Nobody does the Bonati spine procedures except the Bonati Spine Institute. And that's why, after we've spoken with patients, a recent 7.5-year survey reflects a patient satisfaction rate of 98.75%. You just don't find that anywhere else.
It's nearing perfection.
It's about as close to perfection as you can get. And he used his genius, that ingenuity resulted in the Bonati spine procedures, and it has brought relief to the masses. So with that being said, coming up, we are going to speak with Sal Payne. He's the foreman and chief safety officer for a company called BioRecovery. And weren't they called in to do the Ebola cleanup?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Ebola. It's on everybody's mind. Is it going to be the next pandemic? Are we all going to die? Is it going to be the zombie apocalypse? Which it won't be. But
And what happens to the waste?
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is that Sal Payne's company, the government doesn't even want to touch that.
No, I read that here. They said they don't want to be held accountable.
Yeah, the liability.
Do they ever? Do they ever?
The government doesn't want to be liable in case anything goes wrong. So they've contracted
His
probably
company.
multiple companies, but Sal's is one of them.
Right.
And I know they've taken part in the quarantine planes that were at JFK, I think last weekend. So
And then they send 4,000 soldiers to the country that has all the infection.
Nigeria and Liberia. And
then the next thing that's going to happen, they are going to bring back those individuals to the country. So we'll spread a little bit more the infection.
Let's hope
just,
not.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing how.
Do we have hand sanitizer? I'm looking around going, I'm
like some
feeling
right
a
now.
little grimy right now.
a little creepy.
Very true. Very scary, but true.
She just
And
cut my
Jumped all over your thought.
yeah. That's it. It's gone
Smothered
now.
it with a
I
roller.
don't talk anymore.
I promise we'll get back to it shortly. And then, of course, we'll hear what's new in American medicine today. Maybe that's where he'll pick up that conversation. But up first,
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
well, joining us on the line, we have David Dietz, and he lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's on the line with us. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, you're a very young gentleman, and this problem with your back happened when you were in your, early 20s?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was around 22, 23 when it occurred.
Okay.
And how did it start? How did you start feeling pain? I mean, that's awfully young.
Yeah.
Did you sustain an injury or was it
Work related?
Yeah, was it work related? How did you start experiencing pain?
I think it was more work related. I was waiting tables, a typical job for a college student, and I started noticing tense pain, lower back, and driving down the left leg. And I began to think, oh, maybe I just pulled a muscle, or maybe it's nothing. Well, as time progressed, the pain got progressively worse. And then I also noticed other parts of my body changing, especially in the torso section. I was looking in the mirror and noticed a curve. And being young, I was scared, called my parents, and we immediately went to a doctor and found out that there was scoliosis and then herniated discs, 3 of them, and degenerative disc disease. And that was the diagnosis that I had lived with for years, a couple years after that. And that was before I found the Bonati Institute. Well, before I found Bonati, the pain progressively got worse and worse, and no one wanted to specifically go in with surgery, being so young, still growing. They wanted to do full spinal fusion, but no one would do it. Being under 25, still growing, and no one wanted to go ahead and do that surgery. So at that point, it was just pain management. And towards the end, before I found Dr. Bonati, I was taking 12, 14 Tylenol a day just to manage pain and be able to function, which really isn't functioning, but literally just try to manage what I was dealing with.
David, it sounded like you had a fairly serious spinal condition, but there was never an accident or a slip or a fall or anything that caused it. It was just something that happened over time and got worse and worse?
Correct. So there wasn't a specific time in my life where I fell or was active and there was an injury. It just seemed to creep up and then progressively get worse. And it got so bad that when I finally did find Dr. Bonati, I sent my MRIs down, and that was nice. They looked at everything and said, yes, we can help you. And after time with Dr. Bonati and seeing that initial visit, they said, I'm glad you came because you're 2 years away from a wheelchair.
Wow.
If left untreated.
Dr. Bonati, maybe this is a good time for you to step in and kind of summarize for us what people go through with herniated disc, degenerative disc disease, and scoliosis.
And scoliosis, I always thought you were checked for. I mean, I remember getting the test in
Curvature of the
school
spine.
and all of that. You would think it wouldn't go undetected for that long.
Well, David had a scoliosis, but he was already out of the growing age. So he was lucky enough that the curvature did not deform his body. He had a minor type of an angle, so he was in a safe site already. But the major problem was that the deformity was crushing a set of nerves there that was creating this discomfort, this pain. And was necessary to decompress that area so he can get back to his normal life.
So, David, you made your way down to the Bonati Spine Institute, and kind of tell us what the experience was like from there when you first walked into the institute up in Hudson.
Well, when I first walked in, I was greeted initially by a patient, doctor's patient advocate. He was there with us the whole time. He showed us how to sign in and get the process started. He showed us, where we can stay, escorted us to. We chose to rent a house while we were there. So he escorted us to the house, showed us the house, let us in. Everything was wonderful. I never had done a surgical procedure before I had come to Dr. Bonati. Being only in my early 20s, I never really had anything going on up until this point. So it was just easy. It was pleasant. Everyone was the nicest person in the world. Almost felt like the red carpet treatment. That's literally how it happened.
We hear that time and time again about just they make you feel like family at the Bonati Spine Institute. Go ahead, Kimberly.
I'm sorry. When you were there and you had gone through whatever diagnostics were needed at that point, and you got to meet with Dr. Bonati and actually have that evaluation, what was that like for you? Did he kind of really pinpoint what you were going through?
Yes, because up until that point, it was just pain management. No one had a solution.
Okay.
They said, yeah, we can do this, yeah, we can do that. I was tired of the spinal injections that I was getting before I came to Dr. Bonatti. And when I was listening to the evaluation and understanding what he can do, he had me sold at no more spinal injections. I was like, do whatever you want to me. If I can go through life without a single one of those spinal injections, I will be a patient advocate for life. And that was the evaluation. It was the most wonderful answer and solution that I had heard up until that point, and that had been several doctors. Being in the medical area here in Raleigh, we have Duke, we have different professional facilities, and so the spine institutes are all over the place, and I had gone to several, but none of them had provided the answers that Dr. Bonatti had.
Well, David, if you don't mind hanging on for us, we're coming up to a break, but we still have many more questions to ask you.
We also want to hear,
Yes, how you're doing
how
now.
you're doing today,
Right.
and whether you're walking and all of that good stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
So go ahead and I'm going to put you on hold. We'll be right with you. All right, David?
Okay.
All right, hang on.
You are listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. If you or someone you know is suffering with back, neck, or sciatic pain, even something called RSD, migraine headaches, they can reach out to the Bonatti Spine Institute. There is an answer, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonatti.com.
And I think a little bit later, also maybe even in this next segment, when we wrap up with David, we're going to get into some of the things, the terminology that we
Yes.
use here that people might not understand.
Yes.
And a layperson might think, they'll hear the definition of that and think, that's what I have, sciatica. I've always
Exactly.
wondered. So we'll do that in just a little bit, too.
We'll chat next with Dr. Bonatti. You're listening again to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. We'll see you after the flip side of the break. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results, no pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to tune in to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre, Jeff Wagstaff, and world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Now, before the break, we were speaking with David Dietz, and he lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he's a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute. He started to feel some onset of pain in his early 20s, like 22, 23 time frame, and he was saying that it was affecting his job. But let me ask you, at that age, were you in school, and how was that affecting your life at that time? Did you have to stop going to school?
Yes, I was in school. I was in my undergraduate work, and when I was in school, before I had come to Dr. Bonati, I had done something that made the pain worse. Whether I twisted something or not quite sure. I was in West Virginia at the time, and I had called home because I could barely walk. I could barely stand up for 10 minutes at a time. I could barely walk down the stairs in my dorm. And so I told my dad, come get me. This is an emergency. You need to come home. I don't want to go to the emergency room because they won't know what to do, but if I see my doctors in North Carolina, they at least can get those dreaded spinal injections going, and then maybe while I'm home I can find a solution. Well, so I did drop out of school. The pain was just unbearable at that time, and it did get a little bit better as I had the spinal injections here in Raleigh, but it wasn't a solution.
Correct.
I started doing research, and I was reading the news, and I saw a commercial, and it was for the other institute. And as I did more research on that other institute, I realized it wasn't Dr. Bonati. So I found the Bonati Institute and did an extensive amount of more research, and then began the initial call phase of calling down and seeing what they could do for me. But it did impact, and I did drop out of school, actually.
Once you were in, we'll catch you up to speed to where you were before the break. You were in, you met with Dr. Bonati. He told you how severe your back was at the time. He told you that he could get you off those injections. You said, great. From that point, why don't you kind of walk us through the surgery cycle? Did you feel any sort of anxiety knowing that you were going to be under just the conscious IV sedation where you remain interactive with the doctor?
I was. I had never had surgery before. I still have not even had oral surgery for, the wisdom teeth to be taken out. That's being scheduled. But no, I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to anticipate. I wasn't really liking the idea I would be awake, but through the whole thing, it was very easy. In fact, I remember I was holding the anesthesiologist's hand, or maybe she was holding mine, and Dr. Bonati was actually doing the procedure on me, and that was comforting. But then, you know what I felt? I felt really right on the table, because I had lived with this pain for so long. I knew what it was like. I had grown used to it. And then all of a sudden, right on the surgical table, while he's working on me, for the first time in years, that wasn't there. So it's almost as if you're walking with this ungrateful best friend that is just not even a best friend, and all of a sudden, that burden is lifted. That's what it was like, right there on the surgical table. He wasn't even done, and I could feel a difference.
Amazing.
David, while Dr. Bonati and his team were performing the Bonati spine procedure, did you watch?
No, I didn't. I had my eyes closed.
Well, he just said that he had a little bit of anxiety knowing that he was going to be conscious during the whole thing. So.
Well, I didn't know if watching it would help him with that, to see what the doctors were doing, or how that would work for him.
It was, to be honest, no, I didn't want to watch. I was just concentrating on, breathing, and he would ask me questions that he needed answers to, so I would answer those. And to be honest, I was just looking at the anesthesiologist because she was very nice, and at that time I was scared, so that helped me the most, to be honest. But no, I wasn't quite sure I wanted to watch.
I know your type, David. You were trying to look at my anesthesiologist and hell with the surgery.
Flirting with the anesthesiologist. So David, take us kind of up to today. You know what I mean? You said that you immediately felt pain relief on the table, which is already amazing. How are you feeling today? Can you walk? Can you hike, travel? How you doing?
Yeah, life is amazing. So I was thinking of how I would tell my story today, and it's a wonderful story. But when you're living with that pain, life stops. And especially being young, you're supposed to be out playing. You're supposed to be exploring the world and just sports and all these different things. Well, I couldn't do that. I felt imprisoned in my own skin due to limitations. Well, after the Bonati Institute, I felt normal again. So I felt like the whole world had opened up. And so I finished my education, all 4 degrees, and then I started traveling. So within the past 2 years, I was hiking in Australia and New Zealand, and then went to the Middle East for a study trip in Israel, and then traveled into Jordan. And there is no limitations. In fact, some people had trouble keeping up with me.
That's unbelievable. David, we have about a minute left in this segment. Dr. Bonati is here. Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
Yeah, I want to travel like you, man.
There is something I'd like to say. That is, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your dedication to your work, to your field, because honestly, if it wasn't for you, I went through school, I went through 4 degrees. I know what that must have been like, or at least a little bit of what that must have been like to study. Thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have my life back. And I am now empowered to do whatever and wherever I want to go. I can actually do that. Being so young, now I have my entire life to look forward to without limitations. And that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for me finding you. And at the time, I really wasn't even looking. I just stumbled upon some news article and then started doing research and found you that way. And I just want to say thank you. You're changing lives, and you changed mine.
Thank you, David. You're making me tear eyes here.
Yeah.
All right.
Continued good health to you, David. Thank you very much for sharing your very heartfelt and touching story. We are so proud of you for finishing your education and very excited to hear more about your travels in the future. Make sure you keep in touch with us and you send us photos when you're at all those wonderful places.
Thanks a lot, David.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, David.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Those are the type of stories we hear day after day, and it's not just for one person. It happens for multiple people on a daily basis. You have those problems, or you know someone that's suffering in that sort of pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute. There is real help. 855-267-0483. Coming up after the break, we are going to be speaking to the Ebola cleanup crew, at least in New York City. Sal Payne, Chief Safety Officer for BioRecovery Corporation. You're listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. We'll be back after the break.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, and I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre, our executive producer.
Indeed, I am here. Glad to be here as always.
Our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff. Thank you.
Thank you. Present and accounted for.
And across from me, we have... somewhat smiling, actually. This is nice. We have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
Hi.
He won't be smiling too much when we start talking about Ebola and how we're all going to die.
Man of many words.
Oh, yeah, nice intro. We're all going to die. Hopefully not. Okay,
I have
and
hope.
in unison, yes. Well, speaking about that, we're glad to have Sal Payne on the phone. He's foreman and chief safety officer for Bio Recovery Corporation, and his company was contracted to deal with the Ebola waste, including quarantine planes at JFK. Now, of course, we won't get into what planes, what flights, anything like that.
Sure.
But you have a really difficult and dangerous job. Why don't you start explaining what it is you do and then how you keep yourself safe? Because even the government claims that they don't want to take responsibility.
Well, I think that's how Sal's company became involved, correct, Sal? Is that they don't really want to be liable for the cleanup of any of this Ebola waste?
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me on the show.
Sure.
The government's trying to, at this point, reduce their liability as best as possible, as I don't blame them. This is also a job that is fit for private corporations that have the training for something like this. This is what we prepare for. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is our Michael Jordan fourth quarter shot. This is what we prepare for all year long, every single day, from the anthrax after 9/11 that we had done to other types of biochem weapon warfare procedures that we do. Between MRSA, C. diff, Ebola, hantavirus. These are the things that we are looking to do. It does take a special type of person, and I'll tell you now, it's not very easy getting life insurance being in this line of work. But it's a very rewarding job to take a challenge on that everyone else says can't be done or won't be done.
Sal, you said jokingly about life insurance, but I saw in the information prior to us talking to you, we wanted to do a little research. I saw that none of your insurance companies will insure you, so the company has to self-insure.
And it's just Ebola. They don't want anything to do with it, correct?
Absolutely. We've been dealing with toxic and hazardous waste for almost 30 years now, and we've had a fantastic relationship with our carriers. They've never had an issue. Even with the anthrax, during 9/11, there was no issues for that. This, because there is no validated vaccine, nor cure, no antidote, nor nothing you can do about this, they're walking away they're not only scaring us with the fact that they won't insure the project, they're even threatening to say if we do the projects, they want to drop us. That really scares us. But it's something we're up for the challenge. It's something that we feel we have the need to do. Our men and women, most ex-military, have the training for this, and this is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting to help the community out and the country out in a situation like this for years to come.
So you bring up a great point, and I'm sure a lot of your guys are ex-military, and I'm sure that they're very capable and trained with protocols to handle these kind of things. But
Absolutely.
But now that you're dealing with Ebola instead of anthrax or these other issues, do the employees get a little heebie-jeebie? How does the staff handle this?
I will tell you, we actually had we have meetings every other day, and the meeting we had the other day was very important because we had the attorneys there because of the situation that we do need a consent waiver in regards to this situation. With our near 100 employees, there were employees that chose not to participate in any type of activity related to Ebola. It's a tough one. This will be our greatest accomplishment yet. Anthrax, we went in there, we had Cipro, we were okay. It was a tough situation. It was a long, tedious process. But this is one of those dare to be great moments. We're very excited to participate in helping out. We have enough of a crew that has participated, signed off on, hundreds of legal waivers, and they're ready, willing, and able to jump into action and do whatever it takes to get this done.
You bring up a point that comes to mind when you say these companies don't want to insure, yet the government is asking you to step in because they don't want to claim responsibility. Why isn't they force them to have to cover this?
I'm having a tough time hearing you. Can you say that again, the last part?
That's okay. I'm just wondering why the government doesn't step in and make these insurers insure you, because they themselves want to negate themselves from responsibility of this cleanup. So they're hiring you as a separate entity to take care of this dangerous waste. Yet the company you're looking to have insure you kind of turns a blind eye and goes, hey, whoa, no, we don't want to do that.
So why doesn't the government help out, or at least force the
hand? Right now, we've been working with how it happened was first we had contacted our current insurance carrier,
right,
who stated that they had no appetite for this. They did not want to insure it, nor did want to be any part of it. So we went to the secondary market. We've contacted approximately 700 carriers nationally and internationally. Mm-hmm. We have one carrier that may insure it. Okay. The amount of the premium, though, that they're talking about already, they're talking about upfront a $250,000 underwriting policy cost. Mm-hmm. That would really offset any type of constructive billing we can do on a situation like this. Mm-hmm. You're talking $250,000 upfront, and that's for a 24-hour policy. It's a little bit out of the reach of any corporation.
After going through hundreds of insurance companies. Right. Poor Sal's down to dealing with Fred's insurance.
Yeah, right. So, Sal,
now we're dealing with, as a matter of fact, the only person that's even entertained this entire process is Lloyd's of London. Wow. They're debating it. They are looking at our standard operating procedures at this time, but still with no confirmation if they'll do it. I believe they may, but we're talking about numbers in the several $100,000 for a 24-hour policy, which, of course, we're going to have to offset by giving it to the government or giving it to whoever the insurance carrier is that insures the properties that have to be decontaminated.
Right.
It's not cost effective.
And so,
as for the self-insurance, I don't think we're really going to have much of a decision, much of an option other than self-insuring this product.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable. So, Sal, just explain to us what the steps are. I mean, I know I would be freaked out having to go in there. What's the gear you use? What are the techniques? What do you do when you have to deal with Ebola waste?
Well, the big thing is protecting the men and women first and foremost. Number one is the CDC has recommended a level C PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment. Level C, in my opinion, is not sufficient enough. As a safety officer for a corporation that has almost 100 employees, I'm going to make sure that every person that works at BioRecovery is protected. Their level C is inadequate at best, in my opinion, so we've moved it up to a level A. level A is what you guys have seen, the general public sees in movies. The yellow suit, oxygen tanks inside, the stuff when you see these movies about radiation or outbreak, with the little monkey. That's the suit we're going to be wearing. It is a Class A. It's got full scuba gear, self-contained breathing. We're going in there, and factually, our body is never even in the same atmosphere as the actual particulate matter and or the virus. So I feel extremely confident in our abilities to do this as safely as possible, knowing the fact that realistically, the suit is there, but we're not. We're bringing in outside oxygen. We're coming in a completely enclosed suit. I've seen the CDC, I've seen government officials deal with it with a level C suit, which is just a respirator and, overalls and coveralls and Tyvek suits. Our level suit is so far superior. I feel very confident in our abilities that we'll have no issues.
Okay, so when you go in with these suits, you feel as though you're in a completely separate environment. You have clean oxygen, all of that. But when you come out, what is the process of taking that off? Because you have to come out of that quote-unquote safe environment. What are the procedures when you do that?
It's called the decontamination, and that is probably, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's probably the most important part. Because you can be safe inside, but now I have to make sure that the people around me are safe too. Right. Because if I were to walk out and do the clean out, unsuit by myself without doing a proper decontamination, not only have I affected myself, but I affected everyone around me. The decontamination process is going to be a little longer than normal. When we do decontamination for asbestos or MRSA or other types of pathogens, it's a very simple rinse down with specific types of chemicals. Because of the weariness that we have and the lack of information, the lack of vaccination, we're not going to do one type of methodology. We're not going to do two types. We're doing 3 to 5 different types of methodologies to decontaminate. Each one of the methodologies are a successful way to kill the Ebola virus. I don't want to do it once. I don't want to do it twice. I want to do it between 3 and 5 times. I will feel much more confident and much more comfortable going home to my family after I'm in quarantine for several days. Going home to my family after that.
And Sal, I know that you can't really get into a lot of the specifics, but what is on the agenda of BioRecovery Corporation? Like, what are you guys going to be up to in the next several days into weeks? I know that starting today, 5 major airports around the United States have started quarantining passengers coming from certain countries that had the Ebola over in Africa and New Guinea in that area.
Well, initially screening them and then quarantining as necessary.
Correct. So what are the next steps for you and your company, Sal?
Well, for us and BioRecovery, the most important thing is working with government officials to get what's called a standard operating procedure, an SOP, in place. It really bothers me on a daily basis that I see that when one cow gets sick with mad cow disease, not a single person is affected. One cow gets sick, they quarantine an entire area. They slaughter hundreds of millions of pounds of beef. They shut down ports to bring in meat from that country. We have the most dangerous virus known to man with no proven cure, and we haven't shut down the borders. So for me, for the company, and for all of our advocates and all the associations like the National Association of Crime Scene Cleanup, we are advocating all day long to governors, senators, congressmen, legislators, lobbyists. We need to get the borders closed. We need to get quarantine areas marked. We need to identify the red zones and the green zones. We need to make sure this is stopped in its tracks.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting that the government hasn't gotten their priorities.
Absolutely. All right, Sal. Well, we're out of time. Good luck to you and your company. Foreman and Chief Safety Officer Sal Payne for BioRecovery Corporation. Details.
Thank you again for having me on, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Sal. You too.
BioRecovery.com.
Wow. Difficult job. I couldn't do something like that. I'd be too afraid.
Absolutely.
Well, you're listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. After the break, we're going to hear more from Dr. Bonatti on what he thinks about what's happening with Ebola. You're listening to News Radio 970 WFLA.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. We are here with Ethan Euchre, Jeff Wagstaff, and world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati. And I know I cut you off earlier, sir, when you were getting revved up about Ebola and different things happening, so... Ethan?
Find out.
I still feel
Let's look at what's new in medicine today, featuring Alfred Bonati, MD.
That's the last time we cut you off. Here you go.
Even though that just cut him off, too. Sorry about that.
Cut him off again. So what?
I'll cut him off. How about that? I just did it.
So that's it.
That's it.
Okay, we're finished. Let's go to the next segment.
Let's wrap it up. No, it's all you, Doc.
Well, let's talk a little bit about common sense. I don't know what's going on with the government. Now, I know that they're Democrats. That's what's wrong. But the problem is even Democrats have some common sense.
Sometimes.
And very, very few times. But this time is just beyond common sense. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why we still we have open borders. I don't understand why still we allowed planes coming from Liberia and landing in main cities. Every other country is already blocking this type of interchange of population. So I have no justification why this is happening. I don't understand the system. As a physician, the first thing that they teach you when you have an infection or when you have a possibility of an outbreak of any type of illnesses is you need to separate that population, to have a quarantine for a certain period of time so you can study what's going on. Well, we have a laboratory in Liberia. Why don't we just quarantine that country and help them to get better, but without exposing the rest of the world and more than anything Americans? You know, it's something that I really hate to see. I hate to see that I don't know. I think the politicians and the Democrats, they really feel that we are responsible of the world, and we need to take care of the world.
The world police.
Well, how about to take care us, to take care the Americans first? We need to take care of our country. We are sending millions of dollars so we can feed other people, and some of our people is suffering with hunger. I don't understand that common sense. Don't tell me I am a selfish person, because I'm not. But really, charity starts from home.
I think a lot of it, Doc, is the whole bleeding heart. You know, we're here to help everyone, and we welcome your huddled masses and all of that. Okay, well, if the huddled masses have Ebola, keep them where they are. I don't want them here.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. But you know, this is the common sense of the country. You talk to people, and the people go, "What's going on? What's going on?" And the real truth is, where is these people that they are being elected? That's the problem with politicians, that they are being professional politicians. They don't want to lose their vote, so they are protecting their rear ends all the time to maintain their vote. This time they're going to lose it, because the country is tired of this behavior. And the other thing is, why they send 4,000 Americans to study and to protect and to help the Liberian crisis of Ebola? You know what's going to happen? They're going to get infected. Okay, and they're going to come to the country, and they are going to have a massive spread of this disease here that is not being properly studied. They keep lying to us. I mean, the president just came over and said, "Well, the American medical health care is able to contain this." That's not true.
You know, Jeff brought up a good point, though, during the break. I think it was during the break. You said, you know, almost the hazmat type outfits that they wear as they're decontaminating. Does that really help, Dr. Bonatti?
They're high-tech raincoats at best.
Right. No, that thing is, those things, they help. They help.
Okay.
But the situation is, then we need to have every one of us, one of those ones.
Right.
Okay? That's absurd, am I right? But that is what is really funny is, you saw that the person who was collecting some sort of samples was totally with this outfit. And the journalist who was on the side doing the interview is with a microphone on his hand. Yeah. I mean, what type of a common sense?
Well, that's
from everybody.
Dr. Bonatti, that's the whole key. You started this segment by saying common sense. Yeah. As Mark Twain once said, common sense ain't so common.
That's true.
And that's the problem. We're letting this disease into the country, and then we'll figure it out later.
Well, did you guys see earlier in the week, the guy in Dallas, the original sort of patient zero that had Ebola, passed away, unfortunately. But did you guys also see, might even have been last weekend, a news helicopter was hovering over the complex where that guy had lived, the Ebola
so it's
patient?
Like spreading all the
Well,
germs?
that's not even the problem. They snapped a picture of people cleaning up his vomit on the sidewalk before they took him to the hospital. He threw up. With a spray washer.
Power washer.
With a power washer.
So now it's everywhere.
Sending it everywhere. I mean, come on. Do people not know the threat that we're facing here with this Ebola?
If that happened in your neighborhood, Dr. Bonatti, or my neighborhood, we would pack our bags and leave. The community that gentleman was visiting was very low income. Those folks have nowhere to go. Hopefully, the Obamacare will take care of them.
Well, no, they're not going to take care. They don't have money to do that.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And that's a look at what's new in medicine today with Alfred Bonatti, MD.
That's certainly what's on everyone's mind. I know this week is the whole Ebola thing. Let's hope. And I did see. I know I mentioned it earlier that starting today, they're actually enacting in 5 different airports around the country, quarantines for any travelers coming from these
Those
suspected
areas?
cities. Newark, JFK, O'Hare, Atlanta, and I think Dallas are
But
the 5.
that's already late.
I agree.
Okay, I mean,
100%
you just land the plane there. You have a contamination. You know, all that population that's inside the plane. They keep telling the no. It's not transmittable. It's transmittable if you touch something or if you do some
handrails?
fluid contact or things like that. You
Nasty.
know, a person's coughing in that plane, and all that thing is going with the
Recycled
system
air.
is going all over with circular air. I mean, it's no common sense. The whole
know.
thing is, to me, this is no common sense.
Well, and
It's gonna continue.
It's true, unfortunately.
Unless we throw the
sense.
politicians.
Keep your hand sanitizer, and I'm thinking those masks
Might be a
may
good
be
idea.
of use. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're out of time.
Yeah, well, you've been listening to American Medicine Today on News Radio 970 WFLA. We'll be back next week, noon to 1. Make sure you stay tuned. If you need help from the Bonati Institute, reach out to 855-267-0483. We'll see you next week.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.